Hello, welcome to this India Research Center podcast. Today I have with me Vice Admiral Mullidhar Sadashivrao Pawar, former Deputy Naval Chief of India. Respected Admiral Sahab, welcome to Gwalior.
Thank you.
Tell us more about your journey. What made you join the Indian Navy? What was the inspiration?
Well, Arunash, thank you very much for having me here. It's a pleasure to be at Gwalior, the land of my forefathers. As you know, the Shinde family hails from Satara, where I come from, and very proud to be associated, talking about matters maritime, so far away from the sea in the hinterland. Well, my joining the Navy has been for reasons beyond my control actually. I joined the Sainik School, Kurukonda in Visakhapatnam district. I too, like this location, studied in a palace, the palace belonging to the Gajapatis, Rajus of Vijayanagaram, who had donated the palace to Sainik School in 1962. And at the age of 9, I joined Sainik School, Kurukonda. It used to take 4 days for me to travel from my small village in Satara district by a steam locomotive all the way. And in 1978, I joined the National Defence Academy. And while joining the National Defence Academy, you have to fill forms. And since my principal and the vice principal were both naval officers who were role models for us, I filled in as the first choice to join the Indian Navy. And there I was, having passed out thereafter from the National Defence Academy in 1981 till 2021, about 40 years I was in the Navy. So that's my travel or voyage to join the Navy, so to say.
Amazing, Admiral Saab. It's amazing to hear about this story. Very inspirational. What I need to ask you, sir, is this: that we have had a long maritime past. India is a civilization which takes pride in the fact that it has had phenomenal naval warriors from the state of Travancore, the Cholas and others. But Marathas have had a very special presence when it comes to the history of Indian Navy. And you are a Maratha yourself. You are carrying forward that legacy. So tell us more to our viewers about something about the Maratha maritime heritage.
Well, you spoke about India's maritime heritage. In the first place, you would know that the Indian Navy's motto, Shan no Varuna, is taken from the Vedas. And the oldest dry dock in the world resides or is located at a place called Lothal in Gujarat. And you would know, even in the era of the Romans, there is a Roman parliamentarian complaining that the gold and silver of Rome is all heading towards India in exchange for the fine cloth and textiles from India, which the Roman gentry and women loved in no small measure. So we have a rich maritime trading link to the west, as also to the east, which is evident from the Angkor Wat temples, the civilizational linkages with Indonesia, right up to Vietnam and up to China for that matter. And of course, in the more recent times, I say, more recent times, though not very recent, is the Buddhist times, the Buddhism has traveled to both China, to Japan, the Koreas, largely by the sea route also, not because the Himalayas were unpassable. So that's as far as our rich maritime heritage goes. As far as the Maratha Navy is concerned, well, it's a miracle because it was started in an era when the indigenous rulers never thought about maritime power as such. After the Cholas were eclipsed, we had the rulers in Calicut, in Kerala, who had their small navy which the Vasco da Gama defeated. And within about 70 odd years, the Kunjali Marakkars, who were the admirals of the Zamorins of Calicut, they were defeated. And when the Maratha power started in the middle 17th century, there was no indigenous navy which has its roots in India itself. Of course, the Mughals had some naval force, but largely in Bengal, I would say, for the riverine warfare. And we know that the Mughals waged a battle in 1671, the Battle of Sarai Ghat against Ahoms, where the famous Assamese general Lachit Borphukan defeated them. On the western side, they of course had a small riverine navy at Surat, but nothing to compare with the European navies, which are ocean-going navies. Now, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj is the founder of the Maratha Navy. He laid the foundation on 24th October 1657 at a place called Kalyan in the suburbs of Mumbai. It lies on the banks of Ullas River. So when Shivaji Maharaj, he was not a Maharaj then, he was the son of a Jagirdar. He conquered Kalyan and saw the ships in the river belonging to some other merchants. He knew that he is going to acquire Konkan, he requires a navy, and that's how the navy was started. The fact that the Maratha Navy was started in Kalyan is also indicative of the reality that the Marathas did not have a coastline. Shivaji's Jagir was confined to a landlocked state near Pune. So it is like the kingdom of Bhutan asking to raise a navy. I mean, if you don't have a coastline, if you don't have the maritime culture, how can you even talk about having a navy? But the Maharaj acquired coastline with the power of the sword and the spear, created a coastline, and then laid the foundations of a Maratha navy. It is a long story, but it was very unique in those days because it is the circumstances in which Maharaj raised the navy, which is very, very unique. Maharaj was fighting the largest land power, the continental power in the world at that time, the richest, the most stable, most expansionist, at the zenith of its rule, the Mughal power. It is not as if the Mughal power was decaying and dwindling. It was a very powerful force. So he was faced with an adversary on land, which was the largest, the most powerful, and on the sea, on the maritime front, he was again faced with the largest and the most powerful maritime power, the Portuguese, who were well established, again at the peak of their wealth, of their military prowess, because throughout the 16th century, the Indian Ocean and to a large extent the Pacific had become a Portuguese lake. At the time when Maharaj raised the navy, ships could not ply in the Arabian Sea or anywhere in the ocean without the license of the Portuguese, which they called as cartas. And any ship without a Portuguese cartas was susceptible to interception and taking it as a prize unless heavy fine was paid. So it is under these circumstances, right under the nose of the largest maritime power and the continental power, that Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj laid the foundation of a Maratha navy. Not an easy task, because today when you see there is a scramble for places and bases, much like in the business world, nobody allows a competitor to rise. Similarly, in geopolitics, no established powers allow future competitors to rise easily. They are challenged, they are checkmated, they are denied technology, they are denied opportunity, they are denied a conducive environment to grow. And it is under these circumstances that the Maratha Navy found its inception.
Sir, a wonderful explanation indeed. And in fact, for the context, I would like to add that Shivaji Maharaj did something that was far beyond his age. I mean, competing with such great powers, such big powers. I mean, a power like the Portuguese that had an empire extending from Brazil to Timor-Leste, with very important choke points under their control. And the Mughals, one of the three gunpowder empires, as it is said, the Ottomans, the Safavids and the Mughals. It indeed was the great Maratha miracle. And hearing it from a great Maratha like you, it is an amazing experience indeed, Admiral Sir. Sir, my next question to you is this, that in today's day and age, what is your opinion about the importance of Navy from a defense perspective? You know, people are saying there has been a great ascendancy of the Air Force, and the dominance and the air field is what is required. There was a time when it was said that he who rules the sea rules the world. So what kind of changes do you see from a defense perspective? And you know, what is the importance of the Navy in today's contemporary age when it comes to warfare?
Very interesting question coming from a land lover like you. And there is a certain amount of deficiency of maritime consciousness in our country at large because they are over-consumed by the threats that emanate from our land borders. But to make it simple, I will tell you the importance of the maritime domain. There is a rule called the 70, 80, 90, 99 rule, which is very easy to remember. 70% of Mother Earth is water, oceans, much like 70% of the human body is water. 80% of the world population lives within 200 nautical miles of the coastline. So this population in this coastal belt or extended coastal belt can be easily influenced by events taking place in the maritime domain. They can be attacked, their peace can be shattered, their livelihoods can be challenged, their security, and the natural phenomena which take place in the ocean, be it the cyclones, the tsunamis, the disasters, the rain, the excessive or the deficient rainfall, they all can be very, very easily influenced by the maritime domain. 90% of the global trade, today we talk about global economies, the world is all shrinking, we say, but 90% of the goods, both raw materials and finished products, they travel by the sea. And 99%, guess what? 99% of the data which powers the digital economy, you know, flows over fiber optic cables lying on the seabeds. Deny a fiber optic cable to somebody and you deny them WhatsApp and internet and Instagram and all these reels and railway reservations and port services, banking, etc. So data is a new gold. So all these have got very, very close relations to the maritime domain. Now, as you said, he who has a navy rules the seas. This is a saying from Ajna Patra written by Ramchandra Panta Amatya, who saw service with the Chhatrapati, Shivaji Maharaj, with Sambhaji Maharaj, as also Rajaram Maharaj, and further to Shahu Maharaj and Sambhaji Maharaj of Kolhapur. So it's a fact. If you look at the American Empire, if there is a crisis anywhere in the world, the first thing that is asked in the White House is, where are the carrier battle groups? They mean the ability to project power to influence events anywhere in the world. If the Chinese Navy is rising rapidly, it is not ornamental alone or for national pride. It is the ability of the navies to influence events far, far away from their coastlines. And that's why countries which have got aspirations to become great powers have big navies. You would see that Britain became a great power because she had a big navy. Navies that do not have, nations that do not have big navies or do not have the wherewithal to enforce the writ on the oceans of the world cannot be great powers. We have had an exception, Russia, but Russian Navy under Admiral Gorshko also rose very rapidly, and you would see that the decline of Russian influence is also coterminous or parallel with the decline of the Russian Navy.
Indeed.
So today, when you talk of a growing economy, 4 trillion, 5 trillion and 30 trillion and so on next 50 years, India can be a great nation only if it has a great navy, or India will not be a great nation, because unless you are able to guard your sea lanes of communication, guard your maritime areas of interest, you cannot be sure and secure about the environment which will be presented to you as you progress along the growth. And if there is no peace, there is no stability, there is no rules-based order, which are all enabled by a strong, powerful navy, India's progress would be challenged at every step.
So when you mentioned about the importance of navy and how empires fall with the fall of the navy, what came to my head was how the Ottomans, for instance, when they were fighting against the Europeans in the Mediterranean Sea, and under Barbarossa, Khairuddin Pasha, and from the side of the Europeans, they had Andrea Doria, and suddenly with the defeat of the Ottomans, what used to be an Ottoman lake, Mediterranean, turned to be a European lake. And it is indeed a very important lesson that policy makers and leaders in today's world need to understand that navy is very important even in contemporary age. Respected sir, Maharashtra is a land of forts. You have come to another city which is known for its fort. On the coast of Maharashtra, there are great sea forts, coastal forts. Which one is your favorite and why?
Well, before I answer that question, I'll just touch upon the Ottomans. You said it was a great power, and they had a great navy. In the last battle, the decisive battle, which the Ottomans fought, was the Battle of Lepanto in 1571 in the Mediterranean, and that was the end of the westward expansion of the Ottoman Empire. Its cause was the defeat of its navy. Otherwise, every now and then, the Ottomans, who used to needle the Europeans, the Spanish, the Italians, the Portuguese,
Christians.
Yeah, and if you look at the history of the world in the last 400 years, the history of colonization, right up to the Second World War, and to some extent, even today, it is all linked to the battles on the sea. The two of the 50 major battles that shaped the history of the modern world, two were fought in the waters adjacent to India, and they were both maritime battles. Not the Battle of Plassey, not the Battle of Buxar, but prelude to that, the Battle of Diu in 1509, wherein Francisco Almeida, the Portuguese commander, viceroy, the admiral, whatever you may call him, he defeated the combined fleet of the Sultan of Gujarat. Remember, at that time there were no Mughals. Gujarat was a sultanate.
Yes.
The Egyptian fleet under the Mamluks, and the forces of the Samudri, or Zamorin as they call him, of Calicut. That was one major battle. This was preceded by the Battle of Chaul, wherein Almeida's son was killed at Chaul. Chaul is just south of Bombay. This is a major battle. The second battle, which relates to the Ottoman Empire, is in 1538, if I am not wrong, wherein the Ottomans fitted out a ship at the north of the Red Sea with the Venetian and Genoese technicians trained by the Italians, Italian business houses funded by them, and equipped by the Ottomans. They came in and they had a battle once again under Diu, where again the Muslim navy was defeated, and thereafter, much like the Mediterranean became a European lake, the Indian Ocean became a Portuguese lake.
And that is why there is a great importance of the Marathas, who made it in a Maratha lake.
Okay,
later.
so Marathas did not necessarily make it into a lake, but Marathas challenged the Portuguese there. And as you talked about forts, just on the 11th of July, 3 weeks ago, we have had the UNESCO World Heritage status accorded to 12 Maratha forts called the Maratha military landscape. Of these 12 forts, 4 are purely maritime forts. They are Jaladurga, they are sea forts. The fortress of Khanderi, where the Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj fought the Siddhis, who were the admirals of the Mughals, and the East India Company's navy operating from Mumbai, and built the Khanderi fort right under the nose of the Siddhis and the East India Company. If you see its location, it is located between the sea lines of communication of the Siddhis of Murud Janjira and the Mumbai harbour of the East India Company then. So it was a very, very strategic fort. We also got in that Sindhudurg, which Maharaj himself laid the foundation stone of in 1664, and it is almost 350 years and more. If you go to Maharashtra and go to Malvan and see Sindhudurg fort, this fort stands tall even today, despite braving the marine environment and the lashing of the monsoonal seas for 350 years. That is the kind of infrastructure and formidable prowess that the fort has got. We see the Marine Drive at Mumbai, it requires renovation almost every decade because it cannot take the beating of the monsoonal seas. You see how Sindhudurg stands. The Sindhudurg fort, maritime fort, was built by finances brought from the raid on Surat in 1664, that's right. 1664, January 8th, 6 to 8th was the raid. When Maharaj was imprisoned by Aurangzeb at Agra, the work on the building of Sindhudurg continued unabated with great amount of passion, innovation, innovative methods to raise finances, and people are reported to have sold their family jewelry to fund this enterprise, and Sindhudurg was the headquarters of the Maharaja's navy. We have got Vijayadurg, which Maharaj renovated with 3 layers of defensive fortifications. It has water on 3 sides and a ditch, a water ditch on the landward side, impregnable, impossible to take that fort unless by treachery. And we have Suvarnadurg, which if you translate it, it is Golden Fort, which is again a very formidable fort. Maharaj also built Padmadurg in the vicinity of Murud Janjira to checkmate the Siddhi power. He built Khanderi to checkmate the British power and Sindhudurg to checkmate the Portuguese power. That's how they are spread out. So if you ask me, it is architecture-wise, building a fort at Sindhudurg is amazing. If you ask me emotionally, and the way it was built, I think Khanderi, because it is built while war is going on. Khanderi is built in 1679-80 whilst maritime battle is going on around it. They want to capture it, but the work, Mayanayak Bhandari, Shivaji's admiral, along with about 400 laborers and 300 soldiers, were defending the fort. The sea lanes of communication between the land to carry the materials, the cannons, water, food, entire logistics was being challenged by a blockade enforced by the Siddhi of Janjira and the East India Company's ships. And it is by breaking the blockade, by running the blockade, that the logistics was supplied and they built the fort. So, in terms of bravery, courage, I think it is like reclaiming the Kargil heights. That is Khanderi. Remember the mental robustness of the Chhatrapati at this stage. It is at this stage that his son has gone and joined Diler Khan, the Subedar of Deccan of the Mughals. So he is going through a personal crisis, whereas Yuvraj has gone across to the Mughals. The Khanderi fort building is being challenged because the British were saying that this island belongs to us, and Mayanayak Bhandari has told them that we will not vacate this place even if we stay here for 12 months because our Chhatrapati has ordered us to build this fort. This land belongs to us. So, courage wise and emotion wise, I think it is a fort built under fire while the surroundings were under fire. Vijayadurg, well, it was the headquarters of the Angre Navy later on when the Maratha Navy was divided into 2. And Vijayadurg has got Vijayadurg itself means like Operation Vijay. Vijay is like, be it in Mahabharata or Ramayana, we celebrate the Vijay, the victory, as the name stands. So if you ask me to choose between there's not much to choose.
Yes.
Okay, between two, I would say I will choose Sindhudurg and Kanderi for the
Great.
reasons that I mentioned.
Great.
And I will call upon all those people who are interested in history of India, maritime history of India, and also the land history of India to visit these forts. I mean, there is nothing, I've been around the world, there is nothing to match the forts which Maharaj built at sea.
Admiral Saab, it was amazing listening to your answer, first of all. And second, I would like to say that I hope taking forward your advice, heeding to your advice, youngsters go and visit these forts, the maritime, the great coastal and sea forts of Maharashtra. It will not just boost tourism, it will also make them aware of their great heritage. Respected sir, thank you for joining us for this podcast and spreading maritime awareness, not just in central India, but different parts of the world.
Thank you so much. My only message to your listeners, particularly the young ones, is to prod them to join the Indian Navy. It's a fine service. Remember, you can join the Navy. The Navy chooses you. You don't choose the Navy. There is no other way to join the Navy except by your merit. You're physically fit, mentally awake, morally straight, psychologically stable. It is through a fair, competitive process. Only the best get an opportunity to serve in the Navy, and I can guarantee your professional satisfaction, professional pride. The Navy gives you adequate opportunity to let your aspirations soar, be it in the sky, be it in the space, be it underwater, on the surface, in the special forces. You will have a quality of life which is unmatched, uncomparable to the money that you may earn in billions from corporate jobs. So if you have got it in you, give it a try. Wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.